artists and musicians that are going to be joining us, sharing their work, sharing what they do, why and how, and really getting behind the scenes for some of the incredible things that you can find here in this area. Now, our first act joining us today is going to be These Seeds, which is an amazing poetry fusion electronic music experiment that has a brand new CD coming out. But before we talk to Bobby and Dustin, I'd love for you to get the chance to hear them. These Seeds.
As the world passes by with commotion and clockwork, geared, mechanized, desensitized and weird, bodies follow. They just sit there. As I sit, distracted, condition contracted by the lack of action and crafted from the passive passion and promise. The undead harnessed like disease and warfare, carnage, and we sit there as I sit. But this riff is for the living, the half-dead sitting in a circus, they seem so fitting. But some things missing, some piece of someone fell apart somewhere. Heartache, rhythmic convulsion, parted and pulsing, always mistakes the dark intrinsic carvings as safe instead of starving. Antonym for the wicked barking, marketing the meaning of heartstrings. Their lack of spark and harmony that brings you back to starting over. Pass over, because the blood has marked my mantle and my innocence is stained by the tragedy of travels that dazed more than dazzled. So I sit here as you sit, baffled at the tasks yet to tackle, the fuel for the ember's last crackle. Just a black fire pit that tires of being lit next to the last tabernacle of God. A cold place to make light. Have we won or lost the fight? A picture shot in still frame claims to save the dark of night until we make right. The phase and case of still minds and stage fright. They just sit there as I sit. A distracted condition contracted by the lack of action, crafted from the passive passion and promise.
So These Seeds is a totally independent band that actually in just 3 months put together their own CD of all original music. Now it's available right now on their website, which is theseeds.bandcamp.com. But I actually have the member of These Seeds here to talk to us and tell us a little bit more about what they do, why, and how. So I would like you guys to meet them. Now, we split it up. You guys don't do all the same things. So why don't you tell me, who are you and what exactly do you do for These Seeds?
Well, I'm Dustin Nispel. I write the lyrical content, and on occasion I also play the djembe, the didgeridoo, the Indian flute. But the way I write for These Seeds is, I'm a spoken word poet / slam poet, and we wanted to really build, the poetry aspect with the ambient music that builds as the same as kind of like a whole unison of epic proportions. We really wanted to bring poetry home. We feel like the ambient music really allows an individual to connect with that emotional feeling of the poetry. When you hear poetry, you feel a certain way. It makes you feel an emotion.
Right.
As does ambient music, because you get lost into that drony kind of almost as in a meditative state. So if you combine the two, it really can bring out quite a powerful emotion.
So you picked ambient music specifically because you wanted that to work with the poetry to create a whole emotional experience.
Correct.
And you think that combining the poetry and the music is more than what they would be on their own?
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like, we both bring an equation together that, the desired effect that we each have on, both of our projects, him constructing the music and me writing the lyrics. We work really well together. I've known Bobby since we were in 2nd grade together, so we have a lot of history together as well.
Wow. So you're Bobby, you're the music man.
Yeah, I guess pretty much. I think my name is Bobby Aguich. I play the keyboard and I do all the sampling and all that kind of stuff and do all the laptop fun stuff and electronic stuff. And I guess for what I think it comes to with the ambient music and the poetry, the reason I think it kind of works is because I don't know, the way I look at it, I guess, with the ambient music, that kind of stuff, it's not so much structured as much as kind of like a free-flowing kind of thing.
Okay.
And I think it really goes good with the poetry, because I know with some poetry there's kind of structure and stuff to it, but when you're thinking about writing the whole thing, you're not thinking about like a verse, chorus, verse, kind of repeating stuff back and forth. So I think just like the straightforward sort of like the narrative aspect of the poetry really lends itself well to the ambient music, because the ambient music itself creates like kind of an atmosphere, to put you in a kind of mood in the first place. And then I think that's why I really like the narrative aspect of the poetry, kind of brings in the mood all together, and brings a full circle.
So did you create ambient music on its own before you hooked up
before
with
I did
Dustin?
it, I started These Seeds thing probably like, I guess 2007. No, not 2007. Like 2 years ago. That was way off. Like in 2000, like right at the end of, like right at the beginning of 2011, I pretty much started this. And that was just, I play in all kinds of other bands that do like the instrumental kind of music and stuff. So I just wanted to do a more somber, kind of slowed down version of everything with the more ambient kind of music, with just drifty atmosphere and stuff like that. And I just thought, and I started playing with him and DNA in the Primary Cell, which was another band that we used to play in, which did the whole electronic poetry kind of thing. And then we met through that. And then we just started doing stuff together. And like I said, I really thought the way his poetry, I really wanted something. I was like, I like the ambient music, but I really thought there was something else that needed just something brought to the foreground, because that's the whole thing kind of with like the ambient music. A lot of people kind of think it's just background music, kind of thing. So I thought there wanted to be some sort of element to bring it to the forefront, you know what I mean? Kind of make it thicker and denser, the sound.
So when we can layer your sounds, but we can put the poetry, put the front man on it, create a whole concert experience. So how do people respond in public when you are bringing ambient music and trancey poetry? I mean, what's the audience for that? Is it music fans? Is it poetry fans? Is it both?
It's both.
I think it's everybody.
The reception is both. People like it,
anybody
no matter what.
who likes to feel emotion. If you're into drama television or drama movies, you're clearly into that genre because that movie makes you feel a certain way. You like to feel that emotional aspect of that movie.
So how do audiences respond when they come and hear you for the first time? Are they expecting what they get?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We did a pretty cool show out at the Readers Cafe not too long ago in Hanover, and that response was really great.
Yeah,
there was an open mic
stuff.
preceding, or post-show open mic after we had performed, and you could tell that just the emotion that our performance brought out in the other poets that were there when they got up and performed their pieces.
Energy feeding off energy kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a really high energy place, and anybody who can perceive things to create a desired emotional, or even if they're not even desiring it, if it's just something that connects with them, and whether it be they connect with the music or they connect with their own thoughts or something, we act as like a trigger for those emotions in this project.
So do you tend to have certain themes that you write about, stuff that comes up that's calculated to get an emotional response?
I think a lot of it just happens. We play off each other a lot. If he's doing like if it's a darker piece, I'm going to put darker music kind of. I mean, whether his words might dictate how I play, and my playing might dictate the kind of stuff he says. Because like I said, a lot of our there's not a lot of premeditated stuff when it comes into the writing. It's just we sit down and he's like, hey, I got a new piece. I'm like, or I have a few things to play on the piano that sound cool. And it just goes from there.
So you'll go back and forth. You'll start with some music, and he'll just write a poem that goes with it.
Yeah, a lot of times it just comes just jamming, or like I said, he might have a whole piece written or something, and he'll come and he'll read it, and I'll think about it and get a kind of feel for it, and then we'll do it again and just jam through it and just build from there. And so far, there hasn't been a song that we really ditched. We just used them all, Like I said, we recorded the CD as we did it. Originally, it was only supposed to be, 7 songs, and we kept writing another song. We're like,
it was
record
supposed
it,
to be
put it on
an
the
EP.
CD.
It was supposed to be like a 4-song EP, and then,
it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we just recorded them as we wrote them, and it just came out really well.
So how many tracks are on the new CD?
9 overall.
9 overall tracks. And this piece that we actually heard today is a brand new track. It's not even on the CD yet.
Yeah, actually, this is the first audience to ever hear this piece. Everybody in the studio and the audience out there.
Wow. So when is the second CD coming out?
Everyone asks that question. We could put one out in like 2 months, but we're not going to do that. We want to really promote this album, The Isle of Mare, which is available at theseeds.bandcamp.com. Or if you make it out to one of our shows, which and by the time this is aired tonight,
We'll probably have another Seattle
we'll be
anyway
doing
by
a
then.
show in Harrisburg Makerspace.
Yeah, we're playing down in Harrisburg tonight at a
Awesome.
place called the Makespace, which is like a row home converted into like a DIY kind of venue, art space kind of thing. So it'll be
Very
pretty cool.
What other shows do you have coming up? What are some of the places that you guys play around here?
Well,
We play a lot of different kind of stuff, from show kind of with other bands, and we also play like the poetry kind of events where we're featuring other people do poetry and stuff like that.
galleries.
Yeah, we play in art galleries and stuff like that.
we got one coming up February 13th. That's at the Westminster Station in Maryland. It's also a poetry open mic proceeding that starts at 8:30. And we'll probably be playing about an hour and a half or so out there. It's a pretty great venue, great coffee. I love coffee. It
That's
keeps me
key.
going.
That's key.
Oh yeah. Then we got March 15th. We have another show at King's Courtyard, which is hosted by.
What an incredible place, King's Courtyard Art Collective, which just might happen to be, 124 East King Street, maybe. 7:30 p.m.
Yes.
That's going to be a great show.
That is going to be a great show. We're really excited to do
Definitely
that.
gonna have CDs and stuff for that one too.
Yep.
So.
Yep, we'll have CDs. Hopefully, we'll have some T-shirts.
We always have new stuff. It's all about I think that kind of goes with the aspect of us always kind of writing stuff. That's for me. It kind of is just all about forward motion, kind of just progress going forward. You know what I mean? Not so much just sitting writing something cool and just sitting where we're at and going with it. Like we want to keep playing on it. This isn't with the CD. It's not like a kind of deal where I want to say we took all this time to write and record the CD, so we might as well put on because we really didn't. It took like 3 months to do everything. So I mean, in that time it took, we could take double that time and write 2 more CDs. But I'm
Okay,
just
so
saying,
be honest. When you're playing, how much of that is actually pre-written and how much are you just going off the moment, making up as you go?
Well, I think with a lot of it, but for me, at least for all the songs, for me, there's kind of, it's not so much like a structured kind of like, I know exactly how each part's going to go. It's just for me, there's just a feel of the song, and you just kind of feel it out, and it just goes with itself. Like that's why I think there's a kind of like a cool free form aspect to it that goes well with the poetry. You know what I mean? Because there's with the structure, like. I don't know. I like the aspect of just going with a song and going forward with it. I mean, just trailing through a song as opposed to going back and forth. Like, okay, the chorus is over, go back to the verse. Okay, the verse is over, go back to the chorus. I like thinking just going for it. You know what I mean? When you read a book, you don't go back and forth. You don't flip back pages. You know what I mean? That's what I like about the narrative aspect of it. So it's just he pretty much just telling it, and you're going. You're just there for the ride.
Yeah, and even even in the poetry aspect of it, with him, with ambient music. I can switch up any of the words that I want to, and nobody will ever know. We can perform.
True.
We do shows, and not every piece that we do is this.
It's not going to be the same length and all that kind of stuff.
Because we switch it up. Like our title track, "The Isle of Mare," is 11 minutes and 30 seconds on the CD. But when we do it live, it's over 12 minutes. Because we add whatever we're feeling. If I feel like things need to be added, or if he feels like things need to be added, or if we want to cut it short, or draw it out, we do that, and we don't even really have to talk about it. I just know if he's going on, and he knows if I'm going on. We roll with it.
Well, now I've noticed some of the lyrics do tend to be a little dark or politically challenging.
Yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration from? What makes you decide what you're going to write about?
I write from the heart and from my experiences. I feel like we're in some really dark times as humans and humankinds on this place that we're in, and I use it as a vent more so I'm not walking around with those questions and those emotions like stuck inside, if you will. It's dark, and but we all have dark places that we go to in our quiet moments of thought, that not too many people know. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's a way for me of coping with it versus, like drinking or drugs or anything like that. I focus on using darkness to make light. And between using these dark lyrics and these dark aspects of poetry, people can connect, because those types of things aren't really talked about in that sort of manner like that in your face, and you have no choice but to listen to it. So you recognize it, and it makes you think. It's like flipping switches. If somebody talks about something that might register with somebody else, they're going to be like, wait a minute, okay, well, I'm going to start looking into that, and it can all stem from there, and we want to really inspire. That's another thing that, we want to do. We want to inspire other artists to be creative. And
it's all just about creation and just,
Yeah.
physical manifestations of how you feel.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Awesome. Well, our next artist is actually all about putting feeling, the same motivation that inspires these seeds, and encouraging people to use that motivation to create things, whether it's poetry, dance, or artwork. So I would love for you to meet artist, community activist, and the person behind the incredible artwork that's on my set today, Christine DeJulius.